always dey ask myself, why be say the people wey be say we dey see say they dey for the top, na them be the omila wey we get for Nigeria. Some of them, no be all of them. Some of them they be omila. So now know that Sari Tokumbo, Mona come see wetin they say don't do now. Don't be me go use my mouth talk am because this one heavy. I beg Mona take look. Mona first see wetin do, then I'll come talk my own personal mind.
Accusations of Asari Dokubo, former leader of the defunct Niger Delta People's Volunteer Force, after a meeting with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu at the State House last week, that the military high commander behind oil bunkering in the Niger Delta is still raising a lot of dust. However, since President Bola Tinubu appointed the new service chief, one question many Nigerians are asking is, how will the team work with him to make the nation more secure? Some have been probing the geopolitical and ethnic representation of the service chief. So, Arise correspondent N1ger1a takes a cursory look at these new appointments.
Since the inauguration of the Bola Tinubu administration, citizens' interest have peaked to know how President Tinubu would stem the tide and how he would select his service chiefs. When he made the announcements, interest veered towards the federal character principle and his promise to not marginalize any zone of the nation. Malam Nuhu Ribadu is the new National Security Advisor. He hails from Adamawa State, northeast Nigeria. Being a policeman and a pioneer chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, it might be of public interest how he will bring his experience to bear in his new assignments, considering that most occupants of the office since the return to democracy in 1999 have often been ex-military generals. Major General Christopher Musa is the Chief of Defense Staff. He hails from Kaduna State in northwest Nigeria. He is a senior research fellow of the Nigerian Army Research Center and served as Theater Commander, Joint Task Force, Northeast Nigeria, Operation Hadinkai, and Commander Infantry Corps. Major General Tahid Lagbaja is the new Chief of Army Staff. He's from Osun State, southwest Nigeria. He was General Officer Commanding Headquarters 1 Division. Rear Admiral Emmanuel Ogala is now the Chief of Naval Staff. He's from Enugu State, southeast Nigeria. He was the Director Lessons Learned, Navy Headquarters. Critics say his appointment could assuage the agitation of the southeast for an inclusive government. Air Vice Marshal Hassan Abubakar is the new Chief of Air Staff. He's from Kano State, northwest of Nigeria. Till this appointment, he was the Chief of Standards and Evaluations, Headquarters Nigeria Air Force, Abuja. Deputy Inspector General of Police Kayode Egbetokun has now been made Acting Inspector General of Police. Egbetokun is from Ogun State, southwest Nigeria. Till his current appointment, he was DIG Force Criminal Investigations Department, Force Headquarters, Abuja. This move, no doubt, is a significant transition in the nation's security apparatus. With the wealth of experience these men are bringing on board, citizens will be on the lookout not only to see a visible change in the security of the nation, but also to heave a sigh of relief from the agitation of the minority for an egalitarian society and an inclusive government.
So joining us now, as we further review the appointments of President Tinubu, is Mike Ejiofor, a lawyer and a former director of the Department of State Services, DSS, and the president of Alumni Association of National Institute for Security Studies. Great to have you, sir. Let's start with, the case of crude oil theft and the allegations made by Asari Dokubo. What does that say as regards our security system and the military?
Well, it's quite unfortunate that such a statement came from the seat of government, from an ex-militant. I have no blames for Dokubo. I rather blame the handlers who presented him in the State House to make such a statement. It's a known fact that some military men are involved in oil theft, but making a sweeping statement that military top command are involved in this oil theft is not fair, and I don't think it's the right thing to say. You recall that last year, when this oil theft issue became very serious, the Chief of Defense Staff, the MD of NNPC and the rest of them, major stakeholders, the service chiefs, they all went to the creek to identify, and you saw the discoveries where some of the pipelines were pierced and the oil being tapped from it. So if the government, the top military brass like Asari Dokubo claimed are involved, I'm not exonerating them anyway. I'm not exonerating them, but to make a sweeping statement on the whole military is not only embarrassing and is disturbing. Because there are some good people. In every society, you have some good and some bad people. So some good people will be discouraged. Some of them will be, we are aware that some of these military people make money out of it. But it's not in his position to come and say such a statement, make such a statement. That's where my worry is. But for me, he's a Nigerian, he's entitled to his opinion. But the people who provided the platform on which he made that statement should be brought to book too.
All right, I believe it was the president who was, an invitation from the president, that was where he made that statement, that's Asari Dokubo, when you mentioned that the people who gave him the platform should be brought to book. But let me ask you with regards to the service chiefs. Tolu Adeomi in his report just giving us a profile of each of the appointed, the CDS, the Chief of Army Staff, Chief of Naval Staff, and the Chief of Air Staff. He had given us just a snapshot of their background, their experience, and where they worked before. But from your point of view, I'd like to get your thoughts on the appointment or the appointees. The CDS, of course, starting with the NSA, we had a prior interview where we really dissected that, so that's why I'll leave that. But the other appointees, what's your assessment of these appointments?
Well, I don't have a personal knowledge on any of them. The closest I had with them was when I addressed, I presented a lecture in Army Day celebration in Owerri, where I met General Lagbaja. That's the closest I've got to any of them that were appointed. But from what we have gleaned from the